All right. Conversations with Friends, episodes 9 and 10. I'm Corinne.
And I'm Kate.
We're pop fiction women. Kate, every time I've come to these recaps so far, I've had a new thesis on what I think is kind of happening.
You have a new one, right? You do.
I don't. I'm
You
out of
don't?
thesis. I'm out of it. I don't. I'm out of theories. I don't know what's going on. Do you know what's going
and
on?
I feel like now we're getting finally to our thesis. The one that we loved about the book, which is, can you love more than one person at a time?
Yeah.
I feel like they heard our complaints from the last one.
Yeah.
And the last three that we just did the recap on.
Yeah.
And that now, my big thing there, right, was, why are you doing this to me? Why did you change the emphasis so that I was no longer potentially torn between the Bobby and Frances and Nick and Frances? And now I am seeing it.
Okay. All right.
I'm definitely seeing more of the Nick and Frances
Yeah.
and the love, which I really wasn't seeing
Right.
before.
But is that only because they specifically said I love you? Because I'm
Yeah,
not
but-
seeing a lot different.
Well, I'm
It's just-
seeing more than it was. I mean, really, in the episode we just did, I mean, it would be like 2 minutes of talking, sex, and we're done. I felt very devoid of any connection, but like real connection being shown to me there.
Yeah.
Now, you're right that they're saying
They
it,
have
but
said
I
the
also
words.
am seeing it more.
All right. Well, you're going to have
More.
to
But
flag
again,
that
we
for
were
me.
we were down here. So, I mean, you know.
Oh, so more just means more from the last, not at all
Yes.
comparable to the book.
No, because it's too late now.
Yeah.
I mean, not too late, but we're at
Yeah.
9 and 10. And in the book,
Yeah.
I was feeling it. It
Oh.
was just the whole
Yes, we're
time. This
feeling it.
much
Yeah.
longer
Or
runway.
from like 50, from page 50, I think we talked
Right.
about. Like their first kiss.
Exactly.
I was already feeling it and you were just starting to feel it then. But that's still
Right.
way before. We're like 200s now.
Yeah. Well, and also we're finally had the conversation of, can you love more than one person at a time? And up until
Which I
this
didn't-
point,
But they kind of massacred it.
yes, but not as badly as, can you love someone and also have a meaningful
Yes,
relationship
okay.
with someone else?
Okay.
I'm like, that. At least now we're putting the question
I know,
on
but
the
this
table.
became about monogamy. to
There
me.
was, there was.
I didn't
know,
feel
but-
like I didn't.
But then,
Yeah.
I felt like it matched what we were seeing in these two, which is even more of Bobby and Frances, but now even more of Nick and Frances. And the question presented of, can you love more than one person at a time, was, at least I saw more of that conflict. in these
Okay.
two.
I after now we just discussed this. I do have a new I have a new thesis. These episodes are an argument for non-monogamy. I think that's really the best I can do.
Yes,
You're saying
they certainly are. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't feel like that's what the book was. The book was
Yeah.
very volatile, back and forth, love, fear, pushing away. I mean, how many times did I say in our conversation about the book, love comes out sideways? When love comes out sideways, this is what it looks like. When love comes out sideways, this is what it looks like. Not getting that here. I don't.
No.
It's just like a toe into love. I'm not really sure. I'm not.
But I guess the book was also about non-monogamy. I mean, you're saying that didn't feel like the message you were getting, and that feels like the message you're getting here.
Yes. And I will say this, episode 10 has a lot to do with that for me, because I don't remember. Now, he does say I love you once before. But it feels like their relationship is really starting to blossom after Melissa knows. So then that becomes more of a signal to me that like the affair was bad. And once they came into the light, I'm using all sorts of air quotes here.
Right.
But and once you come into the light, then real feelings can develop, and only then. That I did not feel that level of like a clear demarcation in the book. I actually felt once Melissa knew, their relationship started to actually fall off, because then she entered into a proper relationship with Bobby, even though Bobby doesn't call it that. So I don't know. I don't. Did you feel like their relationship really started to blossom after Melissa knew?
Yes.
Or it was, yeah.
Yes, definitely. But I do think that was in the book.
You do?
Yeah. Well, remember what did I read yesterday? I think I have it here somewhere. But after he found out, that is when they say "I love you" and have that.
Yes, you're right. After he tells Melissa, I'm talking about when Melissa, like the dinner, when Melissa confronts Francis, and then they all have dinner together. So yes, you're right.
Yeah.
The first time, and that line you said yesterday about I've loved you since before I even
they butchered
met you.
for me too.
They cut it.
Butchered.
They cut it.
I mean, they
yeah.
cut it. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Why
Well,
do you have to cut it?
well, so I thought that line was pretty delusional in the book, but I liked it. It's like,
Yeah.
a lot of romance. And I think Bobby even says this. It's silly. It's like believing in Santa Claus. It's silly.
Yeah.
But that's fun. And like, it's exciting. And so I wanted that experience. This feels very true to life. And that's a little boring to me. I mean, great.
Yes.
Super duper for all of you, but I'm not. I want. This is not what I turn to fiction for. Like real life, maybe a documentary, maybe discussing conversations with real life people who are having alternate arrangements that make you rethink all the things that you thought were just planted in your head. Also interesting. That's not what I'm turning to. A, fiction, and B, definitely not a Sally Rooney novel for.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
So do we want to dive into the episodes?
Yes. Now that the thesis has been established.
Yeah, it's more, I think, a way of, showing another way to be, a way to be actually functionally non-monogamous.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Right. Which, I don't know. I mean,
Did you feel that way in the book? When you read the book
at the end, and again, I don't know how this is going to end, but the thing that I really liked about the ending was this whole what is a relationship, and as long as two people are making each other happy, that's a relationship. Which I guess then, even if it's not monogamous, and even if it's outside the marriage, so maybe I didn't characterize it that way, but I guess I did enjoy that aspect, which seems to support that thesis that you're saying.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. You did focus on those questions.
Right.
Yeah. And I think to the extent I did or didn't call it out or ask for clarification when you were talking about it, I think I was just more on the angle of like, what is primary love? What is secondary love? Is secondary love real love? More of that angle of love as opposed to a relationship and how does that function? So okay, so it's more true to the book for you than with that.
Yes, and to a part of the book that I really did love, but I kind of forgot until now that we're saying, because it is at the end, so we'll see how they do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, episode 9, now despite all of this, I really liked episode 9. I really liked seeing both Bobby and Nick nurture and take care of Francis. I thought that was, I don't know, it was very sweet. They were very powerful, tender moments. I was into it. That whole part where Bobby is drawing her the bath and talking to her, and she even says, "Who knew I could be this nurturing?" And Francis says, "I did." Yeah.
And Bobby was really like taken with that. She was like, "You did?" Like,
yeah.
Oh, and she's like, "Yeah, I did." It was the whole thing was very tender, but that moment, I think Bobby, who usually has that sort of exterior kind of doesn't take anything too seriously, tough. She was touched by that.
Yeah, I thought so too. And I think she was also surprised. She's committed to her view of herself as this alternative, contrarian, don't be conventional in any way, shape, or form. And I think she thinks of nurturing as conventional. And so I think she was surprised to hear that she could come off that way.
Yes. And there's that line when they're sitting there, similar to what I liked in the book, when Francis tries to say that Bobby's going to be a famous professor at the Sorbonne or whatever, and Bobby's like, "I'm just a normal person. Like, you don't have to invent some big story for me. Which sounds like, again, kind of being a dick. I mean, she's trying. Francis means that very genuinely, but I went to see because I was like, I think I liked the line in the book better because I remember that, and what Bobby says in the book is when you get to like someone, you make them feel like they're different from everyone else. You're doing it with Nick. You did it once with me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I like that line better. I mean, that is what Francis does.
Yeah.
And here it just felt like, oh, you don't have to invent some big story for me. I'm like,
yeah, I wonder now, this is like the opposite of the mirror. It's like Francis seems to only see the potential, the future, the possibility of a person instead of who they actually are right now. Or maybe without maybe holding both together, maybe.
But isn't this what you said about John Mayer and Jessica Simpson?
Yeah.
That it's hard for the other person then, for the Bobby or the Nick to live up to what you see in me, Francis. Totally. And people who haven't listened to our episode on Jessica Simpson's book, Open Book, are thinking, what the hell is she talking about? But yeah, that's what John Mayer did for Jessica Simpson. And it's too much. It's too much for the person. Because you're like, what if I can't be what you see in me? And I think that's what Bobby's pushing back on. Like, don't do that. Don't put me up here and say and invent some story about me. I'm just a regular person.
Yes. Yeah. By the way, I also I think in that one I could relate to John Mayer, but I don't think they should be together. I think if that makes you feel terrible, you should leave.
Yes.
But some people, and I think in that context, I was talking about it with my husband. For me, when I do that with my husband, and maybe it's because I also hold the line of I see who you are and I'm going to be here with you, connect with you, but also push you to be a little bit more, see yourself in a different way. And he has always risen to that task, my husband. So in that way, it's motivating. It's different strokes, different, folks, right? And and I think I said even then, but I'm saying it now, if that kind of pushing and projection, like Bobby is saying here, makes you feel badly, you're out.
Stop.
Don't do it. Don't be with that person who has to project the future, because some people are.
Right. So I like that she calls her out on that. Like, no, I don't like when you do that. And that's what you always do.
Yeah. I also liked when she called her out on asking Francis, what's going on between you and Nick? And she's like, I don't know. It's not going well. I don't know what happened. She says, I tried. And Bobby says, in a Francis way or in an actual way?
Yeah, because she says to her, did you tell him that you went to the hospital and you were sick? She's like, I tried. That was a great line. Because it's true.
In a Francis way
did you
or
really
in an actual
say?
way? Yeah.
And she's right, because we all know it was in a Francis way. She didn't do anything. She called and he said, are you drunk? And she's like, bye-bye.
Gotta go.
There was literally no attempt to communicate that whatsoever.
Yeah. So I loved that she called her out on that. I really liked that one.
Yeah. And I love that Francis asked, am I a difficult person to be in a relationship with? And Bobby's like, I wouldn't say easy. You're more challenging than that. And, is that why you dumped me? See, I don't remember this conversation happening. I don't think she was the one. So she definitely wasn't the one. Nick's the one that gets her out of the bathtub in the book. So not Bobby. So I don't know if Bobby was in the bath, if any of this was in.
Yes. It was. Okay. Yes. I just don't think it went to the dumping
Then Nick
part.
came sooner in here he comes when she's already.
Yeah, because Bobby undresses her and says, I'll do it in a very unsexy way. And she actually calls Nick. I don't remember who got her out of the bath, to be honest. I do remember that exchange of Bobby and Nick outside wherever Francis was, whether she was in the bathtub or in the bedroom, and he says, she's having a hard time, be kind to her. I do remember that.
But see, that in the book was also one of my favorite parts, because here, like you said, you just hear her say, she's having a hard time. But in the book, Frances hears them talking about her out there, and she says, I loved them both so much in this moment that I wanted to appear in front of them like a benevolent ghost and sprinkle blessings into their lives. Thank you both. You are my family now. And I loved that. And I know they couldn't really do that here. I mean, what could she be thinking, you know? Yeah. But that felt so different to me in that moment, that her two people, Bobby
were
and
out
Nick,
there taking care of her.
Were out there taking care of her. Yeah. And definitely in the book, he gets her out of the bathtub, because I have the quote in my notes from before. And it was actually a really beautiful passage about him looking at her, the kind of look you give someone's body when you've seen it many times and it has a particular relationship to you, meaning like she's standing there naked, but he's seen it before and he's holding the towel up. It was a very intimate moment in the book, but it was Nick holding the towel. I feel like this is very different, again, consistent with what we've been saying. The choice they made to make Bobby be the one. It was much more Bobby Francis front and center. But so she said she was challenging to date, and is that why you dumped me? And she said, I ended it to save you the trouble. We were miserable. And Francis is like, that's not how I remember it. And you're like, of course not, because you know. And I love Bobby's answer. I can't help you with that. I can't, like, and it's so true. I mean, people remember relationships or endings or anything so differently. And when the other person's like, well, that's not how I remember it. Well, I mean, I can't help you with that. Like, you remember how you remember it. I remember it how I remember it.
Exactly.
It's over. To use you're like, it's over. Why are we talking about it? But I don't know. But I try not to regret things, Francis. When she says Francis, she seems, I don't know. It's like, try not to regret things, Francis. I don't know. But
was it harsh? What do you
I think mean? It's harsh. Yeah. It's harsh, it sounds almost like parental, like Francis. Like, I don't know. But anyway, I thought the tub scene just felt very different to me, her getting out of it with it being Bobby instead of Nick.
Yeah. Well, now you've pointed out a lot of stuff that was missing there.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of her thoughts, Francis's thoughts.
Yeah, and I don't know, but then he does. Then you do get to the Nick and Francis back in the bedroom, but you know, I just felt like that had a different. The whole thing had a different feel to me. But anyway, yes. Then we get to their talk. Yeah. Which this is the part where you asked me at the beginning of this to tell you when I started seeing it. And I know it's because he says I love you, but I just, even when he was standing in the doorway and asking her questions, and I just felt like she was, maybe it's because she's finally sharing things with him. I think this is, I said this
she's
on
vulnerable.
Book One. Yeah, I think whenever these Sally Rooney characters finally are communicating and being vulnerable, and at least there's all this stuff they don't say to each other for so long, that the moments where I get where they actually are, I guess I just sort of lap them in.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens. She starves me for them, and then when I get them, but anyway,
did you feel like this exchange was pretty? I thought it was pretty similar to the book, except for that line.
Yes.
Yeah. About before.
Yeah, how much earlier? And he says from the beginning. But in the book, he said, "Since I met you, if I wanted to be philosophical about it, I'd say I loved you before then."
Yeah.
I do think that makes a difference.
I do too, but I think they're trying to make it more realistic and less like that kind of silly, delusional love, romantic love that people get swept up in. And I wanted that, but it seems they're trying to make this much more of a realistic, grounded in reality relationship. I just didn't think it was quite that in the book.
Right. But then when he so she says I love you too, and he's crying, and she says she's so tired and I can stay the night, and so that you didn't feel in that moment some more Nick Francis, like finally, like
yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. But again, what felt different was that it felt more grounded in reality. He told her, and then again, a commentary, something on the fact that I only felt that once their relationship was kind of out in the open, that he had told his wife, and now there could be real feeling. feelings, because before that there wasn't allowed to be real feelings. I felt like that was the stark difference for me.
Okay.
So more, yes.
What about this line? Because I don't know that this was in the book either. Let's just be happy from now on.
Yeah. Oh, that's in the book.
Is it?
Yes. Because
Okay.
then I remember talking about it in our conversation about the book, because I was like, let's just be happy forever. And then the email comes.
The
and
email.
their whole world, Francis' whole world comes crashing down. Now, that didn't happen in the show, so I'll back off that.
Right.
I feel like it was very...
Well, but the very next episode
Yes.
10 opens with Melissa asking to talk, which is the
Yeah.
equivalent of the email. But it definitely doesn't feel...
No, it's not the
No,
equivalent
meaning
of-
that's...
Oh,
then
it's
they
an
have,
email. It's not a 5-page email.
But then it leads into their conversation. So
Yes.
they are still sequentially the same thing, meaning you have this beautiful moment with Nick and Francis where they finally say, I love you, and let's just be happy. And you think, oh, and then boom, Melissa and Francis.
But
It's just in the book, it had a completely
But it's not a
different
boom
effect.
there. It's like
Because it's
here. It's
can
just
we
like,
talk?
can we talk? Yeah.
Right, but
And then
you're like, there's a, I mean, if you...
I actually did think. I actually wrote, "Oh, this is going to be good," and it wasn't. Did you feel like
Oh, no.
the conversation was close to what happens in the email, but feeling wise, not at all.
No, exactly. Not even close, which I thought was so interesting because I would have assumed a face-to-face discussion would
Could have
been
more
more,
tense, more-
yes.
Charged.
That email.
Oh,
We spent a lot of time talking
yeah.
about that email.
Yeah.
That
There's a
was
lot of
like,
parts to it.
Holy shit. Like, and then I'm like, oh, wow. And I get it. As soon as I saw that they were going to do it as a meeting more, I was like, oh, this is going to be, whew. Like,
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Maybe because I know some of the lines. I don't know.
Yeah,
But I just thought it had the opportunity to be far more tense than an email would be. And yet I felt the opposite.
the complete opposite. And again, I think it's going with this line of non-monogamy is possible. Look, it's actually working here. We can all be adults. And, she says like she's hurt or, but it's like, all right, let's work with this. Let's see what we can do.
But isn't that what's in the email? Meaning, did they change the substance? I know a lot of the lines are the same, but the part what you're referring to is at the end, like, okay, so here's what we're going to do.
Oh,
we're gonna
yeah.
have dinner
I
together.
expected them to get there. But
Right.
it's
just so
multiple pages and
Pages, that's what
everything.
it's just-
And she says, I'm not angry at you. If you're making a serious mistake, he's not going to divorce you. And if he did, he would never marry you. Equally, if you're sleeping with him because you believe his affection proves you to be a good person or even a smart or attractive person, you should know that Nick is not primarily attracted to good-looking or morally worthy people. He likes partners who take complete responsibility for all his decisions. That's all. You will not be able to draw a sustainable sense of self-respect from this relationship you're in. I mean...
Yeah, they left out some of the real doozies.
So, and that was literally 3 lines out of 5 pages. So...
I know they maybe couldn't do the whole thing, but they just...
Why? Why couldn't they have done
I
this
mean, they
whole
could-
thing?
you're right, they could.
And by the way, and the actress who plays Melissa,
Jemima, give
had
her more time.
had the range to do all of
Yeah,
those things.
no,
I would
absolutely.
have loved to
to
see
see
that.
Yeah.
Because this email does read like 5 different people are writing it. It starts out with like, I'm not angry at you. And then she hurls pretty nasty stuff. And then she's like, but also I'm hurt. And they do bring in the alcoholic father later.
Right, but then it was weird while the other two are playing video games. What are
Yeah.
we doing?
I don't know.
Why
And-
wouldn't you just put it there?
I don't know. And so there's a lot that's left out of that. The beats, like if there's 25 beats in the email, 5 of the most important ones are there, but you really can't take away the other 20 and have it.
No, you can't.
No,
and those 20 acted out.
Yeah,
Like you're saying would have been.
Yeah.
Oh, she could have been
Great.
up and
Amazing.
down and
Yes.
pissed, and then
Yeah.
like we said, that email has everything.
And also in the email, which I didn't understand why they took out. Maybe it will come in later, actually, because they seem to be putting things in later. Mm-hmm. The parallel of just because I had an affair doesn't mean my feelings don't matter, which is what Nick has been telling to Frances and what Frances has been doing to Nick and Bobby. Like, you dumped me, so I don't care if your feelings are hurt. And you're married, so I don't care if I do nasty things to you. Now, Melissa is also saying that people are doing that to her. Like, what? Just because I had an affair means Nick can fall in love with you
Can
and
fuck
carry
a
on with you?
21-year-old
And,
or whatever, yeah.
Also, thank you. The age thing, not at all in there.
Right. Yeah, why did that...
I don't know. And it's funny because that was the thing Frances couldn't stand the most. I think she says at the end of the email, she read it several times, and the part she skips over every time is the part about the age. So, I don't know.
I don't know, because that I felt was a very, very bad watering down of
Here's
what
the
could
thing.
have been.
Yeah, we say it often, but the Sally Rooney books are very interior. They are a lot about the volatility in one's own head. Like, when you interpret something this way and then you leave and you're like, shit, did I get that totally wrong? And so we understand there's a limitation to portraying that on the screen. I did not feel any less of that volatility in Normal People. So I don't know how they did it, but they did it.
I don't know either.
And here I am not feeling swept away. I am not feeling on an emotional roller coaster of who am I rooting for? What's going on? Like, do I want them to be together? Do I not want them to be together? Is this all right? Is this going to work out? I'm not feeling that at all.
No.
Yeah.
And there's always so much beyond just the interiority. There's always so much in what's not being said. And so you have to, again, I don't know how they did that.
But they did it in Normal People.
Right.
Yes.
But here, with this particular scene, this isn't even one of those we're dealing with what's being unsaid. You have the material for the greatest scene, using this email, and now having it be a face-to-face.
Yeah.
That could take it in. I don't get it.
It could have been a whole episode itself.
Yeah.
And you're right. This isn't interiority. Melissa gives us her interiority.
Yeah.
Spills the whole thing in, her email. So
yes. So this is one where we could have really seen it come
amped
to life
it up.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they're holding on to it. Maybe they're holding on to it. Maybe it'll come.
Yeah.
In episode 11. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe, and maybe it will. Maybe it will come out. Who knows? Maybe it will come out like the more time she processes, the more time she has to be around them. She can't stand it. I don't know.
I don't know, but you're right. Then it does have this sense of, okay, so you're doing a lot of good for him. He's happier. Let's figure this out.
Yeah.
Okay. And then let's have dinner.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
dinner sounds good.
Dinner sounds good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there was the line about when Melissa emails Frances, she's in the book, she says, I'm doing this because I don't trust Nick to tell you the real story. Now, again, with the air quotes, because the real story is just Melissa's point of view, but still it's a point of view that Frances doesn't have at all. And so Melissa's like, I don't trust Nick to tell you more than what you just want to hear. And that was a dagger, and also felt very true for everyone. And that's not in here.
No. Well, she does say
he tells you what he wants.
Right. He tells yeah.
But then also, but then she says, "Oh, is that not your experience of him?" As if that could be a different experience of Nick.
Yes.
Oh, so he does tell you the truth, the hard truths.
Yeah. There's so many good lines that are just not there from that.
No. But it's not just the lines, and it is the lines. But to me, it could have been any line. I just wanted to see that whole range of emotions. And to say why, like, she did say twice, do you understand why I feel betrayed? But I wanted more of that same idea. Like, what? Just because I had an affair, now I'm not. Now he's allowed to do whatever he wants because that's payback. But I have feelings about it. And even if he
Yeah.
is quote unquote allowed to, well, I'm allowed to be fucking pissed, and I'm allowed
Yeah.
to say you're a threat and I'm going to keep you at arm's length. And I don't know. So the lines aren't there, and then also the emotion isn't there, and that's certainly what I was missing.
Yeah, and this part after when she's talking to Bobby about it, and Frances says, you know, it was weird. She wanted me to know she had an affair first, and this is some revenge thing between them. And I know we talked about the revenge aspect in Deepwater, but did Frances say that in the book? Is that why we were talking about revenge, or did we just
I don't
interpret
remember
that? Yeah,
No,
because
I don't remember.
yeah, because then again, that is a little different to be looking at it as just payback, revenge kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
I didn't sense that was what I think I brought in Deepwater, because I thought you said it in Deepwater.
yeah,
But-
maybe that.
but-
yeah, yes.
But I didn't get any sense of the revenge here.
I didn't either. That's why Frances saying it, I thought, I know why we were talking about it, but I don't
Yeah.
remember, because I don't see that here either.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't see that. He was lonely and depressed and low, and Frances made him feel better. I didn't think it was
Yeah.
anything to do with revenge.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, so
Right,
she
and
talked to Bobby about it.
Bobby helps interpret. Melissa for Frances
Yeah,
says,
it felt hostile. She says, well, obviously it's hostile. You're sleeping with her husband. Yeah.
and then she says it's actually really generous. Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty amazing. But then, right after it, before the awkward dinner party, there's just a quick call with Nick and Frances, and she says, so is this still an affair? And he says, I don't really know. And that's also doesn't have those great lines from the book about, and I don't have them in front of me, but basically about what, if an affair consists of us not seeing each other and worrying about the affair.
Oh, that
then-
was from much before. That was when he went away. That was from much earlier. That line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
Yeah.
where I was. Yeah.
Yeah. But so, I mean, it's a little ridiculous, but I'm going to speculate for myself. And this says a lot about my pathology. So anyone who wants to come at me, it's fair. It's fine. I would definitely lose interest in the relationship if someone else dictated it to me. Like, it's an affair, and that has, excitement, danger, like, it has a lot of quote unquote benefits that people enjoy. If then he told his wife and she was like, hey, let's work this out, I'd be like, wait, you two decided this, not me. And I'm
Right.
not sure this is what I bargained for. This is what I want at all. I think I'd be like, because some people would be like, oh, thank God, relieved.
Yes.
Now this is out in the open. This is not, I don't have to worry about anything. She knows it's all on the up and up. But I would have, the lack of control would have, I would be like, I'm out. I'm sorry, Nick.
I don't think that says. I don't know that it says anything one way or the other. It's just that would be your reaction,
Yeah.
and you're absolutely right. Other people might have this is a relief. Now there's no more sneaking around, but I think your point is a good one, which is we don't know what Frances thinks. Is she? There's never the well. Wait, she's just going along with it. Okay, Melissa
Yep.
said we should have dinner. We have dinner. Do you even want to have? Like you're saying, is this what you want? Do you want to have dinner with Nick and his wife, or do
Yeah.
it's just so we'll talk about being passive. I mean, who's those
which
two,
is my argument that she always
Yes.
in the book that she always said Nick was, but she was often.
Yes. So, and this is a
Passive, Frances.
perfect example of that. Like, you would not be passive in this instance. In fact, it would piss you off
Yes.
that someone was taking away your control. And that's, but
Wait, I didn't decide if I wanted this to be, because it is entering into a new relationship.
arrangement. Yeah.
It is a new arrangement that has repercussions on the dynamic between the two of them.
Yes.
By the way, and let's just, I'm just want to skip and we can come back, but like, they go out to dinner and talk about fucking Bobby. Like, what?
I
I don't
know.
understand these two. What?
I know.
Okay, but I
he's-
skipped over a good part.
Yeah. You got, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They go to dinner. It's actually fine. They kind of call out the awkwardness of it. Again, very grounded in what feels like reality. I am not in an open marriage. I have not ever been the third in somebody else's. So I don't know that this is actually reality, but it felt very grounded in reality. We're going to be adults, but we're going to call it out, and we're going to see where this will go.
I mean, I'll just say with that, though, it helps that they previously have all hung out.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's not just like, hey, I'm bringing in my mistress. Like the four of them have hung out and had dinner before. So it does. That's why I'm saying I do think it actually feels a little bit more like reality or a little less weird. But then it's still weird.
It is. And then afterward, they have dinner. Bobby and Nick play video games. I'm like,
what is with that?
Ugh, I don't know. That annoyed me.
What is the insertion of that? What?
No. I guess it's their bond. Maybe it's Francis picks the same kind of person. Although they've already positioned Bobby and Nick like as far away from each other on the spectrum of personalities as possible. So I don't know. I guess that's just a point of commonality. People are allowed to be complicated.
Yes, but I just thought it looked more like a device to busy them while so that Melissa could make a comment to Francis. But I'm like, they could have done that in a million ways.
Yeah, they could have done dishes. Yeah, it had to have had more. I think it was more of a point of commonality for the two of them while doing double duty. You know, and that's when Melissa says that her dad was an alcoholic, and she says it very sort of passive aggressively. I thought she's like, huh. And Nick told me yours dad is too. Yes. Interesting. Because
very loaded. It's very loaded. Interesting.
Yeah, but in the email, she's explicit. Yeah. In the book, she says, "Is that why we're drawn to Nick? My dad was an alcoholic. Your dad is an alcoholic. Maybe we're doing the same thing." It was a point of commonality between them in the email, and I feel like in this scene, it felt like a conflict, a fight.
Yeah. Yes.
Loaded, like you said.
It felt like she was trying to say, he tells me the things that you tell him. And I did not feel that way in the book at all. I think, as you just described it, served a very different purpose. This is more like, oh, and just so you know, honey, he tells me everything you tell him.
Yes.
Including deeply personal shit that your
family.
Right, because when I heard this, I was like, "Oh, fucking Nick, what an asshole!" Even though he did do the same thing in the book. I mean, he must have told her, or else how would she know? Completely different here. This was a power play by Melissa.
Yep.
Kind of also like maybe we should both get on the couch, and also like this is fucked. There was like I said, just loaded with things.
Yes, and if there was any nice moment, I thought she was going to be like, "Do you want to read my essay? Maybe you'll relate to it."
Yeah, it was not that moment. No. So I don't know. That was an interesting change.
It was. Speaking of interesting, Nick and Francis talking babies, my favorite.
Your favorite. This is like, I'm like, I gotta know. This is
ripped out of Corinne's intimate past, for sure.
Yes. Please explain to those listening who haven't listened.
Well, no, I mean, I think some people are interested in having kind of conversations this way. Like she says, would you still find me attractive if I was pregnant? Which seems kind of random, but also doesn't to me. I've only discovered it feels random to other people. To me, this feels very natural and normal.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it feels super random to me, but that's why she's making these fetish jokes. But then when he describes what he means, like he wants to take care of her or the pregnant person, and do nice things for them and cook for them, and I guess, is that what it is? Actually, I don't know what. Maybe. For the men, I don't know. I think it's a lot of things.
No,
a lot of things.
I don't know. It's a good question. I've never asked. I just go with the conversation because I want to have it.
Yeah, but then he did say, "I would still find you attractive, even if you were pregnant." But I think this is important because we know how much he loves kids, and we've only gotten, it's less so in the series than it was in the book. We know he loves his niece, and that is part of it. But I don't know. He's a little baby crazy, I think, because of his niece, and that comes across a lot more in the book. And then whatever her diagnosis is going to be, if it affects her ability to have kids, I think that makes that wound harder. So you do have to get into this.
I think they will. I think they will
too. I'm just saying, I think we needed something here, or else we wouldn't quite understand why he's so.
I thought it was fair, though. I thought you could see it just from that.
Yeah.
because I think because she actually the conversation starts with the niece, right?
Yes.
And she's
it weird to be
like
jealous
I'm
of a
jealous of a
baby or
baby. Yeah,
Yeah, it's cute.
So it is. And then we get to and I don't know. Oh,
Their
the
dinner.
Yeah. And then
Yeah, but I mean, they
it's
go out to this
essentially
proper dinner, and they're sharing. They're all excited. It's like a real date. She's talking about how she's got this short story published, and she's so excited. And then he's like, well,
did
what's
see
it about?
This is not just that. You know, I am not. In fact, I praised Alison Oliver's acting in the first few episodes. So I don't think this lack of emotion. It's a choice. It's not Alison Oliver's inability to act because she's so excited here. I see it. But I'm saying like all of this, I don't even know what she wants. Does she want Nick? Is Nick a replacement for Bobby? Does she want Bobby? Is she too afraid of Bobby and she can't and Nick is something she can handle? Like what I don't know what's going on in the show. And I did feel it in the book. I felt she was at points delusional, at points scared, at points lots of things, but I felt all the emotions in the book and I don't feel it here, and I'm saying that's not Alison Oliver's problem. That's a different choice because here, just when she talks about the essay, and she's like, "They're gonna fucking pay me." Like,
no, she's like fucking published,
so
fucking published.
cute.
I know,
so excited, so earnest and eager. That's what I mean when I say cute. Like, just so taken in the moment and like not self-conscious about how big of a deal this is. And I loved watching it, and I think she portrayed it beautifully.
Yes. And I think that I liked their interaction in this scene, the two of them. But then when he asks, what's it about? And, she's like, it's sort of about Bobby. He's like, how so? About our breakup. And he says, you should tell, like, have you told her yet? And she says, no, not yet. And he says, you should tell her. And I don't remember, again, I hate to keep doing this, but I don't remember that from the book. And I think we had a conversation in the book at the end where I said with the ending that she came to Nick for advice on whether or not she should tell Bobby about her sickness, which now that can't happen at the end of this because Bobby knows about her sickness. So I'm not really sure.
No. Bobby knew as much as she knows now.
But what does she not know at the end? The diagnosis.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But you joked like, she's going to Nick because he's real good with advice. He's a real sage. And yet I feel like more in the series, he actually, in this moment's one of them, where he is giving Frances good advice. Like he is a person that she's going to.
Oh, she's not going to him to advice. Well, she's going to him to gloat and be excited. He gives advice.
Yeah, I'm saying, but he is. That's what I'm saying. I don't remember feeling like in the book that he gives makes these comments like this, like helpful. Like he's right, meaning that he's right in most of these instances. Like,
I don't know that I ever debated whether he was right or gave good advice. I think she doesn't go to him for advice, and I think that's still consistent.
Right, okay. But I thought, I don't remember this. I don't think that I don't know. But either way, I find myself in the show more being like, Nick's right. Good point, Nick. And this was one of them for me.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
we're to the thesis conversation, the on the nose thesis conversation, right?
Oh, we'll just say before we get to that, the one thing we've left out is this whole issue with her dad and the money.
Yes.
And now she's broke and he hasn't given her any. Yeah.
And
in the book, Nick gives her money, but I don't think that's happening here. Or at least it hasn't happened yet. Yeah. He helps
Bobby
her.
offers to give her money, doesn't she?
Yeah. But in the book, Nick does give her money. But anyway, I've always found, I don't know, I found this in the book too, that the storyline with her dad is just sort of there, but not fully developed for me. But
yeah, I think it's fully developed for what it needs to be, which is it explains why she feels desperate to sell this story. And part of it, that's a cover, because I think she would have sold it even if she wasn't. But then this is her excuse, right? That she can say, I needed the money, and so I had to sell it, even though she could have handled it differently, and it's a betrayal in a way. So
it does
do that.
Her,
yeah. And then I guess it also sets up the alcoholic dad and then that's maybe
How
who
she
she's
likes-
drawn to.
So she has daddy issues.
Yeah,
Is that-
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Drawn to passive Nick.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
The thesis.
Right, which is that all of them at the dinner table and
Bunch of
or
friends,
at the I guess at a bar, maybe
Pub.
just drinking, pub. And someone asked her, "So are you officially a couple?" And Bobby kind of is like, "Ugh," right? Like, "Ew."
Yeah,
What are
yeah.
we? What are we? You know, what is this? And then it gets into monogamy, which I didn't feel like it does get to. Can you love more than one person? But I did feel like it was more. I don't think the word monogamy was ever in the book.
I don't know.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
I know. I
Yeah.
don't remember. I
Yeah.
just remember
I don't.
I remember the part about can you love more than one person at a time with all your heart. Well, she said this other woman who we don't know, one of the women says,
Camille.
I just
Same
don't
in
think
the
it's
book.
Oh yeah, I just don't think it's possible to love more than one person with all your heart. And then Bobby has the great line about,
Ugh,
basically
I'm
can a
wrong.
parent not
It is.
I was going
It
to say I
starts-
think it's in there.
It starts with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at some point the conversation at the bottom of 241. At some point the conversation turned to monogamy, and a subject I didn't have anything to say about. At first, Marianne was discussing whether non-monogamy was an orientation, like being gay, and whether some people are naturally non-monogamous, which led Bobby to point out that no sexual orientation was natural as such. Very,
That's similar.
yeah, no, very,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I think. So yeah,
And then the line that I love that Bobby said and is also in the book when is that basically because your parents not love more than one kid. The girl's like, I'm an only child.
Yes.
But yeah, so that part I
That's
do
not
think
in
this
the book, by the way.
conversation.
that she
Yeah.
says she didn't say she's an only child.
Oh no, I know, but the
Yeah.
part about
Yeah, yeah.
this idea of a parent-child love versus. But I did think this conversation tracked the book.
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah, okay.
It does. It could just be with the whole thing that makes me feel like it's less about that the question isn't really about loving one person or more than one person. It is about giving yourself intimately. And now most people, maybe people would say there's no difference. It feels different to me. It feels less emotional and more logistical and honest. It's about honesty and authenticity, truth. It doesn't feel about desire, passion, love. It doesn't feel like the burning building stuff to me.
Yeah. No, I know. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So then the kiss. We got
Yeah.
to end with the kiss. What did you think of the kiss?
Oh, wait. Go back. So I started our conversation about the book with this idea of can you love more than one person? And do you feel, and when you read the book, you felt yes. Are you feeling that same here?
Oh God, I feel different here.
I feel less of a hierarchy for me.
Yeah.
It feels much more of an equal playing field amongst all the parties involved.
Yes.
It feels reciprocal. It feels, there's still a hierarchy. He lives with Melissa. He's married to Melissa, but it feels, since it's all kind of out in the open, and I don't know, it just feels like.
But that was all true in
Yeah.
the book.
Yeah. No, totally feeling.
Yeah, it's a feel. And prior to these two episodes, I was not feeling it at all because I wasn't feeling the Nick and Francis piece. Now I am feeling more of the Nick and Francis piece. Sorry. So now it feels more like a question of can you love more than one person at a time? To me. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna end up probably with again, I don't know what they're gonna do with the ending, but
Right.
with this taking the happiness that you can from whatever relationship, and maybe that's enough. I mean, that's how I think how Francis defined a relationship, and I think that's where I ended up.
Yeah.
But the feel here definitely, I'm not. I can't say I don't feel different. I do. I have felt different this whole time.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll see.
You're right. So then Bobby and Frances go outside for a smoke. Bobby's obviously distraught, not just about the conversation, the kind of confrontational, aggressive nature of the conversation that they had in the pub. She talks about her parents. And I had asked, I think, 2 recaps ago, where is Bobby's dad? Well, here he is.
He's been in it, yeah.
Yeah, and he's not handling the divorce well. He's playing them off of each other. And Mom is probably just going to go back to the States, Bobby says. So she's struggling, Bobby.
Yes. She says she feels like shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they have this conversation, but everybody basically has shit going on. Frances is like, I didn't know you were going through this. And she has those lines about how everybody's going through something all the time.
Yeah.
And then
life is just more and more stuff to go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then there's the kiss. And I also don't remember in the book, was the kiss after this conversation?
Yeah.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this was one that I felt like this scene was very powerful in person. I like seeing it as opposed to in the book. Mm-hmm. The tear running down Bobby's cheek. Mm-hmm. Oh, it just
and
felt...
Frances wipes it away.
Yeah, it felt very powerful. It also planted a little weird seed in me. And the book, it's in the book too. So it's not, this is really all a discussion about how things can be exactly the same and feel very different. Mm-hmm. It made me feel like Frances likes people who are low. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're down and out. You're not sure. You're terrible. Like things are bad. There's a tear running down your cheek. Let me kiss you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, because when Bobby's not feeling weak, when typical Bobby is strong and aggressive and, unlike anyone she's ever met. And she's intimidated by that Bobby a lot. And that's the one who she feels like dumped her. And that's the one who thinks she thinks maybe she's too good for her. Like, why'd she pick me, and that she can't see herself differently vis-a-vis Bobby. But in that moment, to your point, when she's low, she's like, oh,
I can do this.
Wow.
I
can do this.
That's so funny because that's also the same with Nick. She obsesses about how good looking he is. And
you're not vulnerable. You must never wonder, should I wear this outfit or what do people think of me? Yeah. She thinks he's impenetrable to vulnerability, but he's not. And neither is Bobby. But she just thinks that these people aren't like her in that way. But it's kind of what Bobby's saying. We're more alike than you think. I think Frances thinks she's like the only one all the time. That's whatever. I don't know.
Okay. No, that makes sense too. I was thinking of it much less favorably. I was like, she's kind of an asshole. Like she just goes for them when they're low.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it's when she feels most comfortable then to be vulnerable too, because she had put them like Bobby says, she puts people up on this pedestal. And then she thinks they're up here, and and they're finally maybe more at her level. But what she doesn't understand is those people are always like that. I know.
Why doesn't she raise herself up to that level?
Frances isn't there yet.
That's so. Good. So that's what I was going to ask. Yeah. Will she get there? So what? I'm dying now. This is amazing. If you choose people when they're low, because then you feel like you're on equal footing, what happens to that relationship?
I don't know. When
Well, of course you don't know. Nobody knows. I'm asking you to speculate.
But she chooses
because you seem to get it.
Well, she chooses them though initially when they're not low. I mean, she's attracted to both of them before that. It's just right. I mean, she's.
I don't know. Is that true?
Well, Well,
can we just go with the thesis that she does? Let's just go with it.
That
Where does the relationship go?
When they become
if I don't know, it's a good
if they're both low, right? So because she's always feels like she's low, and not worthy, if you will. And now the other person,
do they get locked into? I guess I'm thinking again the anchor thing. Do they get locked? Does the other person get locked into that low point then? Like this is when. No, Frances wanted me.
Right. Yeah. No, I think then maybe they're both being more vulnerable and now maybe they can get to a better connection and maybe pull themselves up.
both together. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
don't
that.
know.
I like
It just lets Francis get to a more genuine place, or maybe both people when they get to that low point. It allows more vulnerability, and like we've talked about them, when there's more vulnerability, there's more growth and there's more healing, but they kind of got to get down to the low point to open up their hearts.
Okay.
Listen to me.
I like
I
it.
don't know.
I
don't
like it.
know.
Yeah. I don't know. No, nobody
Yeah.
knows. It's all
Nobody
made up shit.
knows.
We're making it up, Kate.
Pop fiction.
Go with it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
All
That's what I'm
right.
going with.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
we'll
that's
see.
exciting and interesting. I'm going to be thinking about that one for a long time.
I know. And we've got 2 more.
Yes, 2 more. It's
We'll
picked
see.
up for us. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it has. So
Different.
we'll-
And now after this conversation, I'm much more excited than I was. I was like, okay, it's tracking better, but I'm seeing something completely different. And now that's okay. That's interesting to me now.
yeah, now because of your conversation with a friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I
look at
see
that.
it differently.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes. All right.
Okay,
We'll be
we'll be back.
back.